Mamavi, just before we get into that and other key conversation points, let me remind you that this is brought to you by the kindness of our partners. And Cal Bank, for example, would like you to forget to cash. Using the CalBank app gets even more exciting. Share the fun this holiday season as you split bills among your buddies, scan your QR codes, generate or redeem tokens, and so much more using the CalBank app as we all work together to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Now, the app will allow you to instantly send money. You can shop for goods and services from their e-shops. You can also use it to change your card limit, block and unblock your debit card, and so much more. What's more, you don't need a CalBank account in order to use the CalBank app. All you need is to link your Visa or MasterCard to the app and you're good to go. So forget to cash. Download the CalBank app today from the Play Store and the App Store and stay on top of your money anytime and anywhere with a quick and easy and secure CalBank app. All right, call the toll-free number. It's 0800 500 500. Or chat with them online on their social media platforms and on WhatsApp. You can also contact them via email at customercare@calbank.net. CalBank, forward together. This is indeed your election headquarters, and we've got a lot of ground to cover. My guests, Kofi Bentil and Clara Berry Cassati. We've been doing all the analysis, breaking it all down as we run up to at the end of the first 2 hours of voting across the nation. It's about 8:20 right now, and we're expecting even more people to start queuing up across the country. Now, the thing is, when they queue up, they are coming to try out what is essentially brand new technology. You know, the EC has spent a fortune on verification machines just to make sure that a person who is eligible to vote can be determined to be so much easier. Now, the investment was huge. But every new thing, you can expect some teething problems. How confident are you, Clara, as somebody who has observed several elections, that we won't end up tripping over this new technology and it will actually make things easier than it's been in the past?
Well, I just hope that we do not trip over, because we don't want to repeat the arguments that were made prior to the purchase of the equipment. But I would hope that after that process, the EC would have done everything that was required to have tried out the equipment and make sure that it works. I think they owe Ghanaians that much. So I want to believe that they would have done what they need to do so that we don't have a lot of issues in trying out the new equipment and then everything goes out smoothly, or that if they have any teething issues, they have what it takes to be on standby to make sure that everything is fixed so that voting can go on conveniently and smoothly for Ghanaians.
Kofi, you thought a lot of this was not necessary, but here we are. We have it. We spent the money. So, what are your expectations? You think we're actually going to end up with an easier process?
So, see, part of what we do, or what our work is at Imani, is to sound the alarm, to shine a light on what the potential problems could be, and hopefully, when the institutions or authorities involved pick up on that, then they do what they need to do to prove us wrong. In the case of EC, that's what has happened. Now, let this be clear. Anytime across the world we have the data and we put it out, anytime across the world, anywhere, that new equipment has been deployed, there's a certain amount of disruption that goes on just as a result of the equipment. We had that in Ghana. And across the world, the data will show that over time.
Everybody to come out and exercise their vote. I think it is the biggest constitutional responsibility that we have. And as you can see, I came here, went through all the COVID protocols, and it has gone very smoothly. I've cast my vote, and everybody should be patient and carry out this most important constitutional duty. We want to vote very peacefully. This is the most peaceful country in West Africa. At the end of this election, we want to maintain that reputation as the most peaceful country in West Africa. We don't want to exercise this franchise in peace, and there should be no issues of disruptions or what. So we want to wish the Electoral Commission well. We want to wish all Ghanaians well, and we should make our nation proud. And let's come out and vote, regardless of your party. Come out and vote, and we will proceed with our democratic processes after that. So I want to thank all of you, members of the press, for being here. I want to thank everybody, the Electoral Commission in particular. This is a continue working hard to make sure everybody has the opportunity of voting on time. So I want to thank you very much, and I'll take any questions.
NTVC, a local language.
Local language.
Eagle Tree is also live. Yes.
Mpusiapam.
Okay.
Nakuchenna. Kirga polling station one besela into voting. Mbolan yel so kamza. Niapanga yamana manga yamansi. Yina into voting. Voting man yala shiele dunian sunga Ghana waza. Yin bela party kanwa be bela party kanwa de bakare yazaku yimna kati voti lala bunwa katiza nyere amfani tumambola tu voti nai kasuhudo na ko be Ghana wa Ghana ngana tsokam zami Ghana ka kanyala suhudo tungbangu dunia za ba mitila lala ne tinyala suhudo tungbangu de zugo tebobor basa te bola so kam za kina mvoti kallab yinni ka gadama kani ka suhudo biani ka za bigo ba kunya lala ka tamar nang ban yini tim votin na ai de zanin nang sunga bankale kan wandidi ngambadi mpusia pam kapi ai nanga barkan.
Okay, so my question, quick one. Just last year or this month or so, you launched the the QR code, and other economic inclusive projects that you. Why should we maintain this government?
Well, I think that the case for why you want to maintain this government has been made, and I think that it is very, very simple, and the people of Ghana would know that we are the government that has maintained macroeconomic stability against what we came to meet. We are the government that has pursued a lot of far-reaching interventions to reduce poverty. We are the government that has created jobs, more jobs than any other government in the first term of the Fourth Republic. We are the government that has created more infrastructure, whether it's roads, it's water, it's schools. We have done more than any other government in the first term of the Fourth Republic. There's no comparison. And so we have introduced one constituency, one ambulance, planting for food and jobs, one district, one factory, one village, one dam.
First of the high-profile Ghanaian politicians to have cast his ballot already. It's not even 8:30 yet. Vice President has certainly exercised his mandate early in Wale. Here in the studio 997, of course, we continue to bring you live coverage from your election headquarters. Now, remember that hashtag ElectionHQ. We certainly want you to make as much use of it as possible so that we will see what you're saying on social media and share your thoughts with the world. And make sure you're catching our live coverage on Facebook Live, on Instagram, everywhere where a live broadcast is possible. We're there and we're broadcasting to you live. So whatever you need to do today, it's a holiday, you don't have to go to work, but wherever you've got to go, take us with you as we broadcast to you live. And don't forget that hashtag JoySMS. I want to see it at the beginning of your tweet, even before you tell us what you're thinking. Use the hashtag Election HQ. Okay, thank you very much for that, and keep listening. This is your election headquarters. My name is Kojo Youngson, and my guests this morning, Kofi Bentil of Imani and Clara Berry Kasati, who is a law lecturer and, of course, a private legal practitioner. Now, we've just seen the vice president vote. The Bawumia Effect is something that we heard a lot about in the run-up to the 2016 election. This time around, Dr. Bawumia is a vice president. He's part of the ruling government. What's the Bawumia Effect as we go into the 2020 election, Kofi?
Look, I think Bawumia is one of the superstars in the MPP. I mean, if generally MPP has lost a bit of shine, relatively, Dr. Bawumia has not lost that much shine. If you look at even the infrastructure debates, and by the way, this is not campaigning. I mean, today people have made up their minds. Let's just...
Yes, it's too late to...
We are getting people
change
complaining about
mind,
whatever.
yeah.
So let me go on. If you look at even the infrastructure debate, not much has been done in terms of physical, hard infrastructure, bridges and roads. But there's been a lot done about the technology infrastructure, okay, which is key anyway. And those have been led by Dr. Bawumia, okay. I personally think that they will take the North because of the Bawumia Effect, and for people like Hassan Tampoli, who have been quiet but extremely effective, okay, and they are all in the Bawumia orbit. Then across the nation also, he has not gotten that many negatives. So I think he's one of the superstars in MPP, and he really is going to also deliver for them this time round. I think they are lucky to have him.
There are some who actually argue that Dr. Bawumia and Mrs. Bawumia, Samira Bawumia, pretty much won the election for the NPP the last time around. And they point to several things to make that argument. This year, how much of NPP's performance will be down to their, as Kofi describes him, superstar vice president?
I think the role that they played, yes, they played a very effective role, which contributed hugely to them winning the election. The dynamics change a bit after you've been in government. Because when you are in opposition and you are not the one managing the resources, there's so much you can say. But after you've now come into government, I mean, you've done certain things. You just can't talk any longer because you've been given an opportunity. Now you have to talk more about your performance and all of that. So the dynamics change a bit. That notwithstanding, in this election, particularly because they've been in government, it won't be up to them alone. Because it's not, like I said, you are campaigning from a different position now. It will take the entire... It has to be group work. It has to be teamwork. It will take everybody campaigning very hard to be able to get the result that you want. Yes, they've been campaigning hard, but I'm sure everybody else too, a lot of other people. So in short, it wouldn't, after they've been in government, it will not be up to them alone again, for want of a better word. It takes everybody.
Just a quick one on this one. You see, there is the Northern Caucus. And that's far larger than the northern regions. And I believe that the Northern Caucus across the country, the Zongos and everything, they are a bulwark in the interest of MPP. And those people are held together by people like Vice President Bawumia, Hassan Tampoli, and the former information minister. Okay. My own brother.
Yes.
Hamid.
Mustafa Hamid.
Yeah. Okay. They fought very hard to hold that bulwark together. I dare say that if MPP loses the Northern Caucus, they'll lose the election. To that extent, therefore, that is how important, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Bawumia, Hassan, Hamid, and the rest who have held together the Northern Caucus. And I'm saying, compared to the fortunes of MPP, they haven't lost much ground in the 4 years, okay, as other, maybe political figures have.
The NDC has been relentless on them.
They have been relentless, and they really fought for that caucus, for that, voting bloc. But again, that shows you the resilience or the effectiveness of the Bawumia, group. That despite, and NDC is strong in that area. But Vice President Bawumia, Samira, Hassan, Hamid, and a few others who we can't mention immediately, have held firm. If you go there, they are pretty, split. Okay, you can't say today that the northern regions or the northern caucus, the Zongos across the country are going for MPP. In the past, it was almost a done deal, okay, because they really kind of went for the NDC in at certain times. But this time round, that is the difference that Vice President Bawumia brings, and I think he's been very, very effective in that regard.
Am I the only one who feels as if we haven't seen as much of the second lady in this year's campaign as we saw in 2016?
No, she's been campaigning. I think if I followed a bit, she's been campaigning. I think she's been campaigning just as hard.
Fewer sound bites?
She has.
Probably because of, yes, I think the nature of her campaign may have changed. So rather than being in the, the middle class target group, I think she's been campaigning more in the communities. So she goes on the ground, she's been campaigning more in the communities. But I think she's just been as hardworking as she was at the last election.
COVID generally changed the face of the campaign. So clearly you won't see people that much. But that's it. Look, Samira is a superpower. She's a bomb they can use. But COVID made it impossible to use her in that open fashion. But you're right. I believe she's been working underground, but generally.
Right. Well, let's talk a bit about these flashpoints. And there are a number of them that were identified across the country before the election. But already this morning, we've started to see the little pockets of drama popping up in a few of these places. It was a complete false alarm in Chiripone, by the way. We discovered that they were talking about ink, and completely explainable, not foreign materials as we had feared. And of course, we've heard about what happened in Siame earlier this morning, a bit of confusion, if you want to call it that. Ododo Diodio has seen its own share as well. This morning, there was an attempt to join about 4 polling stations together to make one, something that the EC wanted to do for convenience. There was some resistance to that. People were not very happy about having to queue a bit longer to get their votes in. But even that seems to be under control. Flashpoints as we go forward. I'm hoping this is the worst of it. But there was a huge number of them identified. How did that change the color of the 2020 election compared to what we went through in 2016?
Oh, I think it's too early to be able to tell whether there's a change or not. But these things are expected. I think generally all the time, sometimes some of the polling stations open a bit late. Some may have hitches here and there. They might need to be rearrangement here and there and all of that. So I think it's still too early in the day to be able to say whether this is too different or not from 2016. But I'm sure as the polling opens, probably by midday, some of these issues would have been resolved, and we'll see a general trend across as to how the voting is taking place.
Yeah.